You're listening to the Paranormal Peeps on the Darkcast Network. Come to the dark side of indie podcasts with the Darkcast Network.
We have cookies. Between the realm of the dead and the journeys of the living, join Josh, Jamie, and Elisa as they delve into the vast world of the paranormal and breathe life back into the history of the departed.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Paranormal Peeps podcast. I'm Josh.
I'm Jamie.
And I'm Elisa.
She's back, everybody.
Finally, I'd almost given up on you.
It's about dang time.
Track you down in far reaches of the earth.
School had to start.
Yeah.
Summers are crazy for littles.
Oh, I believe it.
We had that once.
Yeah.
And now
A
it's
while
grown.
ago. Yeah. It's grown. It's moved out. We're empty nesters.
Oh, I'm so lucky. One day.
One day.
It's going to take me a hot minute, but I still have 11 years at least.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That sounds like forever.
It does.
You know, in 11 years, our kid will be 30.
Ew.
Oh. You just ruined my whole night.
Wow.
That's only 10 years younger than me.
Such a baby.
I just sounded like Chewbacca. Did you hear that?
No.
Like, did that weird, like,
rattle.
yeah.
Throat rattle.
So, we are going to continue on with the paranormal origin stories. So, last episode, if you guys missed it, that was my origin story. This episode, we are going to cover Elisa's origin story.
You lucky dogs.
So lucky.
Because it's such a good dang story.
It is.
It's a unique one. Ish.
Well, I mean, it's very different from, I think, what a lot of people's are.
Yeah.
So I think that's what makes it really interesting.
But I have to say, the more I get to know people who have the same abilities, gifts that I have, are actually very similar to mine.
I believe it.
So, I mean, they have their differences for sure, but I was very interested to find other people that are very similar to mine.
It's kind of like this whole, I'm not the only one
Yeah,
kind of
for
feeling.
sure.
Yeah. Mine was totally different than everybody else's.
Yeah, yours is
Well,
very
and
unique.
so is like mine too. So,
Yeah.
you know.
So,
All different stories. So here we go.
let's get started.
So once upon a time, I was born. And I turned 2. And that's pretty much when it started for me, at around 2 years old. I don't remember before that. That's why I say it started then. I remember being in my own room in the basement, and you're too little to know anything of the scary stuff, really. You know, like...
The world is still scary.
Well, no, at 2, you don't think like that though.
No,
You're 2 years old.
You're thinking of your little doll and being with mom and dad and, you know, little things like that. But for me, I remember like when my mom would put me to bed, it was like the night came alive. And I remember like things on I had this pink flower print wallpaper. And I remember looking at them and seeing faces, you know, like in the flowers. And I remember, and I don't know if that was my imagination or whatever, but it was really scary nonetheless.
Well, you're 2. It
Right.
would be.
But it was a cute room. But then I would open up the door to go to the bathroom or to go see my mom and dad because I was scared. And every time down that dang dark hallway, I always knew something was there. And then I could see it come out from the wall, from the end of the hallway and run at me. And I had a choice. I could either go upstairs to go up to my mom and my dad or go back into my room. So sometimes I would just go back in my room and be terrified. But some other times I made the leap to go up the stairs. So if you can imagine, my house was a split level. So you walk through the front door, you have your stairs going up and you have your stairs going down. And I was in the basement, so I had to go up the 2 smaller flights of stairs. And I learned how to skip stairs real quick.
I can imagine.
In the dark.
In the dark. With my little tiny legs. But it went on for years. And I would feel it, even though it didn't actually leave any marks that I'm aware of. I mean, I think my parents would have noticed, right? Especially when you're that little and they're changing your clothes, giving you baths,
Yeah.
you know, and all those things.
Someone would notice a mark somewhere.
Yeah. But I would feel it like scratch my back and like claw my back. But it was like just that whole creep vibe, you know, like you could feel it before it started. So.
Do you remember what it looked like?
Yeah. It was like it was trying to be human, but couldn't. It had, instead of being on 2 legs, it was on 4.
Ugh.
More like an animal.
Yeah. And I mean, but it was like arms and legs, but the arms were extra long, fingers were extra long, nails were extra long. So really creepy. And it was black. It never had any other color change to it, and it had like a human-ish face. It had all the features, but they were bigger. Of course, I was little, you know,
Right.
so,
Yeah.
I mean, it could be normal, but to me at that time, it seemed very large. It seemed like it filled the hallway, you know?
Yeah.
But again, I was 2 when it started, but I saw it until I was probably, I think it was 6 or 7 when I stopped being able to see it. I could still feel, the feelings were still the same.
Right.
But the visual now was gone. I couldn't see anything anymore.
So did that scare you even more though? Because you could feel it was there, but you couldn't see where. Was that more frightening to you?
It was more of, you know, like the anticipation of things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what became now more scary because it felt like, when is it going to show up?
Right.
Not that I didn't believe that I couldn't see it anymore ever again. I didn't know, right? But I was just always anticipating that it would.
Right. So what about your parents? I mean, surely at 2 years old, you would probably tell your parents this, right?
No.
You didn't at all. You never
No.
felt.
No, because I didn't know how to communicate it.
How about when you got older?
I don't really remember. I don't think I really said anything because I think you kind of suppress a lot of information.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of things from when I was 2 and 3. I actually really do remember a lot, surprisingly. But I don't know if I had suppressed it or whatnot. I think I had like a lot of scary instances, you know, that throughout those years that I would tell my parents about, you know, and they'd be like, okay, well, let's, you know, say a prayer and, you know, let's let you sleep with the light on. I always slept with the light on.
Right.
Always. Or I would go in and sleep at like the foot of my parents' bed. They'd let me do that a lot. But a lot of the reasons why I would go sleep down at the foot of their bed was because I was terrified
Right.
all the time. But I don't know how much they would put the 2 and 2 together, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So, but then after that, I became a teenager. And I believe as a teenager, you're super impressionable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is when Satan is like prime time.
Right.
I can make the best effort to change someone's trajectory in their life to go the way that I want it to go. Right. So I feel like at that point, I mean, I was a really good kid. I feel like, anyway. My brothers might say otherwise.
Well, they're your brothers. They're going to.
But like I tried to obey my mom and my dad. You know, I did my homework. I loved school. I had good friends, you know, things like that. But then come like, I don't remember if I was like 15 or 16. I feel like I was in high school. But maybe I was like 15. I don't know. But I was getting sleep paralysis every night.
Oh, I couldn't even imagine that.
And it was like, and I didn't know what it was. And my mom had gone through it and she was like, oh, it's like, I went to the doctors. It's just that your
mind wakes up before
your
your
mind
body.
wakes up before your body does. And so you're
Mhm.
still dreaming. Right. And I was like, but mine's like horrific every time. Like I see these demons like every time. I see these creepy people. And I feel like they have a memory of stuff. Like I feel like they just picked up where they left off, or like so my sleep paralysis, I don't know. I haven't talked to enough people to know if it's like super different than everybody else's sleep paralysis.
So what was yours like?
Mine was where I always knew before it was going to happen. And I would know minutes before it would happen. I would be awake when it happened. It wasn't like there were times where I was asleep and it would wake me up, right? But for the most part, I was still awake.
Right.
I mean, I'm a night owl, and I don't know if it's because of my past that I'm a night owl, but going to sleep, I had the lights on. I had a cat in my room that was very aware of everything going on. He would sleep at the crown of my head until I would fall asleep and then go sleep at the foot of my bed. He would, when I would feel that the sleep paralysis was coming on, I could feel them come up the stairs. Like I could sense them coming.
Oh, wow.
And I would feel them. I knew that they were coming up the stairs. I could tell they were in the hall to my room, because at that point I'm upstairs, and enter my room every time. And my cat would freak out. He would circle my room. He'd go pace in front of the door back and forth, like trying to protect me. And he would meow and he would hiss, and he never meowed. He never hissed. Like he was a very quiet, good cat, right? And so if you can picture, he's this big Norwegian forest cat. So look it up. Gorgeous cat.
They're massive.
Huge cat. So I felt very protective with him, right? Like he was my baby. And anyway, and he would know. That's why I'm like, I have a hard time with the sleep paralysis thing being just sleep paralysis for me. At least for me.
Right.
Again, I think it's an opportunity that Satan was like, I'm going to work my butt off on her, is what it felt like for me. And so I could feel with sleep paralysis, I could feel it start at my feet, even though I'm awake. And it would work up all the way up until it got to my head, right? And by the time it got to my head, I was frozen.
Right.
Wherever it touched, I was frozen. And like, if it started at my feet, my hands could move, but my feet couldn't. But then I would hear this, I heard multiple things, but when it got to my face, I could hear like when you're riding your bike and you hear that whoosh, that air going against your ear. I would hear that. I would hear that staticky noise, and then, it would stop, and then I would hear what was going on in my room. But I would put the covers over my head. It could be summertime, 100 degrees. We didn't have air conditioning, and I would have comforters on top of me with a tiny little peephole to breathe.
Right.
That was it. Like, it was like the size of a straw.
Well, trying to shelter and hide.
I was.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
That's really what I was doing for sure.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to look out that hole because I always felt like it was right there in front of my face.
Right.
Just watching and breathing on me. You know what that's what it felt like every night.
Yeah, that's like horror movie style.
It really is.
And I would stay awake until my body couldn't handle it anymore, and I would fall asleep.
Yeah.
So that's how it was through my whole teenage life. Sometimes it would be multiple times a night, 2-3 times a night.
That's crazy.
And it's exhausting. It's exhausting. And teenagers, they sleep a ton.
Yeah, so it really took its toll.
12 hours a day half the time.
I did not sleep. I did not sleep very much. But I got through that. And then, so I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I went through the temple because I was getting married. And right after going through the temple, it stopped.
Oh, wow.
Because I think it was like I had made covenants, and covenants I believed in. And I had this added protection. And so...
What age was that?
23.
So for 21 years, you dealt with...
Yeah.
Various experiences. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And I didn't know what it felt like to go to sleep in the dark without something being in my face until after I was married.
Wow.
And I was like, this is what it feels like for normal people? Like, this is why you guys sleep so good?
You could hardly believe it, I bet.
It felt so refreshing. It really felt so good. And so for me, Alan is, my husband, is like a blocker of all things ghosty. If sleep paralysis was happening, because it still continues to happen, but it is so rare nowadays. So rare. Like, I would say maybe once a year, twice a year, max. And sometimes it doesn't even happen at all, you know? So, but when anything would happen, or when I would have, you know, spirits enter my room, and, you know, because I think as a person who is sensitive to those things, you're like a freaking beacon, you know? You're like a living person who can see them, not see them, but like
Draw
acknowledge
them
them.
Yeah.
And it's like a living person knows I exist.
Yeah.
I want to go talk to them.
It's the lighthouse in the dark.
That's right.
Yeah. If you can imagine Hocus Pocus, the book opens, here comes this beam of light through the house.
Straight up.
For
everybody to see.
For everybody to see. And that's what I felt like I was, right? Because at the time, I didn't know how to turn anything off. I didn't know how to protect myself from that part of my life. You know, it was just on all the time. It's like the light switch was on, my open sign was on all the time.
My welcome sign was there.
I had a welcome mat, apparently.
had a bus bringing them to your door.
So I was constantly bombarded a lot, especially if I would wake up in the middle of the night and I was wide awake for no apparent reason. And then it'd be like, oh, something, you know, is coming. And I would always feel it. You could always tell that where they were for me. And when they would walk in, you know, come into the side of the bed, and I'd be like, freaking, Alan, wake up, wake up, wake up.
Hurry, wake up.
He would wake up, gone. They were gone. Instant.
Wow.
All I had to do was wake him up. And I don't know what it is. I have no idea. But it's like he wakes up and it like pushes everything away. So then I could finally go to sleep. So it was like that. And I got to the point where like I was a stay-at-home mom. And now I felt like I was being followed all the time. And I had my friend that lived below me, and she was fairly sensitive to things, you know, but she'd be like, Elisa, somebody's in your house. Like, I can hear him walking around your house. And when I'd be outside playing with my little boy. And so I'd have to hurry and run up there, and nobody's there, you know? And so, like, I don't know. I got to the point where it was affecting my daily life.
Right.
Not just when I was sleeping, but when I was awake. Not just at nighttime, but also during the day. And I felt like I would do everything I could to try to get rid of it, and I could not get rid of it. I was calling my parents and asking them for advice, like, and I would do the things that, you know, our church will tell us to do to try to get rid of them. And it worked to some extent, but then they always came back.
So it was always just like a temporary fix.
Right. And I wanted a permanent fix.
Exactly.
Because I was terrified. And I was really tired. When you're a mom, you're a new mom especially, you are tired. So I ended up going to a girl's house that at the time was called visiting teaching. And I was doing my visiting teaching with this girl named Becky. And she was like the person I needed. She was telling me, she's like, oh, I'm going on this ghost hunt. I'm doing all these things. And I was like, I want to go. And even though, now riddle me this. Even though I was terrified of this stuff, I freaking loved ghost stories. I loved, like, ghost hunters, and I loved like all of that. I was always so fascinated by that, but yet I was terrified because I was having my own personal experiences. Riddle me that. I have no idea. Makes no sense whatsoever. You'd think I would be terrified. I would want nothing to do with it, but I was always fascinated by it. There was some thrill in that for me. I don't know. It was kind of like almost like a high,
Right.
you know, an adrenaline rush.
Oh, yeah.
But then I was alone, and I was like, adrenaline rush was not wanted. Like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, so I was like, okay, I want to know more about this. Knowledge is power. I want to know everything that I can to help me through this situation. And so I asked her, I was like, oh, well, I was telling her like what I was going through. And now she was teaching me instead of me teaching her. And she was like, you should come with me. And she's like, I think you would enjoy it. Like, I think you would really benefit from this. And I was like, okay. She's like, let's go on a double date. Because her and her husband love to go ghost hunting. I'm like, I will drag my husband along because I know he cares nothing about this. But he totally willingly went. You know, he's like, of course I'll go. So he went, and we went to, where did we go? Fort Douglas. Went to Fort Douglas.
The military museum, right?
Yep. And Becky and I were in the library, and Ellen and her husband were down the hall talking, having a conversation. We couldn't even really hear him or anything. But I saw a book about different jobs and different places and different countries, you know, and they just had a list of all these different books. And I was like, what did you do for a living? Because I had a recorder going. My husband had a recorder going. And I asked the question in the library, but yet my husband's recorder that is going down the hall, and I can't even hear him, at that same moment says, I was a doctor.
Awesome.
Clear as day. Class A, EVP, very first one I ever got. Well, I didn't even get it. It was my husband that got it. And I was like, well, that's way rude. But then you think about it and you kind of wonder, because back during those times, it was like men spoke to men, women spoke to women, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
And women weren't in that area. You know, it was men. It was a men-filled place. So it made sense that they would go to the man.
Right.
But at that point, I was hooked. I was like, there's more to it than this. You know, like, it wasn't some creepy dude that wanted to scare the daylights out of me. It was somebody having a conversation with me. It was intelligent response. You know, I want to know more. And so I went on more. Becky and her husband graciously took me to a bunch of different places, these public ghost hunts that there were. If you guys know the Chunga hunts or Chunga, I think, I can't remember what station he was on, but the radio host. And so he would do these hunts, and we would get to experience what it was like to be a paranormal investigator. Well, then there was a team that started helping out on the Chunga hunts, and it was the Wisps team. And they were now opening spots for their team for people to come and join. And Becky and I both put in applications to be on the team. I had invested a little bit more money into it, because, you know, it's obviously a huge part of my life. And I really did want to know as much as I possibly could. So I invested in some equipment already, into a really good recorder. And all of this stuff I still use now. And I think for them, that was the key, because they knew I was invested. Like,
right.
I really wanted to know more. I actually won an investigation with them. I solved one of the things that they had put out, like, figure out where I'm at, and then you can win this trip, whatever. And I figured out where they were at. So I got to go with them to a residential, so someone's home, and do an investigation there. And I literally took off. Like, I was like, I'm in my happy place. I asked all the questions. I was so involved. I was not shy. And they were like, this is it. You're in. And so it really fit in perfectly for me. They were the perfect team to learn all of the basics, all of how to start investigations, you know, and the residential investigations were the key for me, because that's for me where it started. It started in my home. It started, you know, when I was a kid, and I was now, you know, helping families that had little kids that were seeing things, and I was like, I get you, little dude. Like, I get you.
I know what you mean.
And I think it was really validating for the families and for the little kids, because it wasn't just me that had experiences as a kid, you know? Like, a lot of people that I was with had experiences when they were younger. Granted, I don't know if they could see them like I could see them, or you know, talk to them like I had talked to them. But it was cool to be able to start helping people the way that I wished I could have been helped and understood. Not that my parents wouldn't, they just didn't know.
Well, exactly.
You know, I mean, I don't think they hardly knew anything, really, just that I was terrified.
And back then, it was really the Warrens and
Right?
a handful of other people who were really just getting started. The paranormal investigation field has been, while it's very old in the world, it's very young here in the U.S.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
I think once Ghost Hunters came out, it has boomed.
Oh, yeah.
Investigation teams are everywhere now. Like, so many places has opened up to investigate, and you could pretty much go anywhere in the United States and find places to go hunt, you know? But for me, that's where all my basis of my ghost hunting has been. And I did a lot of residentials. I did very few actual buildings. Most of mine, I probably did hundreds. I went on every one that I could possibly go on. I was going on multiple a week, trying to get as many houses as I could in. And it was so rewarding and so full of understanding and knowledge. And there was another girl named Brandy, and she is a very good medium. And my gifts really started opening up during that time, because it's just like a muscle that you work on. And if you don't work on that muscle, you lose that muscle and you lose that talent, you know? And I think that's how it was for me, is because I had pushed it away for a really, really long time. And it naturally started opening up. So I was able to identify male, female. You know, most of the time I could really only identify male at that point. But I could see in my head like what they look like, you know, and I could see where they were. You know, I wasn't actually seeing with my eyes. I still don't see with my eyes. Every once in a while I'll catch a glimpse, you know, but most of the time it's just like I'm seeing things in my head.
Kind of like a projector in your head or a picture.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. I'm seeing it in my head as if I can see it with my eyes.
Right.
Right. So it's like watching a movie or something and remembering it and thinking back on it, and it plays. And that's exactly what I see. So yeah, things started really developing for me, and she helped me out a little bit and helped guide me a little. And then things changed within the group, and people left and stuff, and I decided to leave. And because I was kind of done with that, I was ready to move on, ready to grow. And I had done a lot of like investigations, teaching other people how to investigate. And I was kind of done with it at that point. I was ready to actually investigate buildings and places, like really cool places, without having to lead a group.
Right.
You know, because at that point I was leading lots of groups and And I'm like, I just want to investigate on my own. Like, I want to know what it's like to do it on my own. I haven't done it on my own, you know? And that's where I came in with you guys.
Yeah.
Well, we met on one of those public investigations.
Yep.
You were our group leader, then we abandoned you.
Yeah,
Went off
rude.
on our own.
Only because it was so stinking hot and I was really struggling.
Yeah, it was August.
It was so hot.
It was in August.
And it was dark, but it was hot and muggy.
Every building was swelteringly hot.
Yeah, and I was struggling. So yeah, we did. We kind of abandoned her group.
Which I freaking don't even blame you. I didn't really even want to be a part of the group.
Well, it was after the hottest building. I mean, and this is crazy, is this building has no heat in it. And you investigate it in the winter time, and there's snow on the ground.
Yeah.
And you're taking off jackets in this building. Mm-hmm. And I have no idea how it's so hot.
Yeah.
But it was after that building, we're like, we're done. We're out.
Yep.
Couldn't handle the heat.
And I couldn't leave.
No
choice.
She was stuck.
I was stuck. Trying to tell everybody to ask their own questions instead of just watching me.
Well, we did. I don't know if you remember, we did.
Well, that's just kind of the part of, leading a group is that you're teaching people how to investigate. And
well, you're not just telling them, you're showing them by example.
Yeah. And so trying to show other people how to speak up, ask questions. Because at first it always feels awkward.
Oh, of course.
Because you're talking to the air.
You feel silly.
It is the weirdest feeling in the world when you first do it.
Yeah. But after a while, you do get used to it.
Yeah. After the first few, for me, it was the first one. I was all in the first one. I didn't feel awkward at all.
Yeah.
But you can tell when you are leading groups that people were like, I don't want to ask a question. You ask a question.
We've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've definitely seen it. So you did a lot of home investigations.
Yeah.
What was one that was like the most memorable one that you did?
In Willard. So, we went to, well, there's a couple, but Willard for me was the biggest one. It was an empty home, and there was a cop that had owned the home. She owned it, and she had been renting it out to families, and families would come and go quickly. She got a lot of newlyweds, and they wouldn't last long. I think she said one of her longest was like a year.
That's it, huh?
Yeah.
For a person renting a house, that's bad.
Yeah, and it was an old home, it was a really old home. But I mean, she kept it up nice, it wasn't like it was in disarray or terrible condition, it was, original wood flooring, things like that, but it was not a bad home. And, but she's like, people there would get angry at each other. They would start fighting all the time. Some ended in divorce, and she wanted to know why. Like, what was the reason, like, why were they struggling so much in there? Like, they would tell her, like, we're hearing stuff, we're hearing footsteps, we're hearing doors closing, and like, she really wanted to get to the bottom of it. Somebody was out, or like, people had moved out, the house was empty, perfect opportunity, right? So we set up all of our stuff, and there was the main level and then an upstairs. And back then, there wasn't a basement. You'd have your crawl space underneath the floor. And she's like, I won't even go in there. You guys do your thing. I'll meet you outside when you're done. Like, let me know and I'll come back. But I'm not going inside. So we set up our stuff, and we put a ping pong ball, because they're really light and easy to move. So we put a ping pong ball on a iron wood burning stove. Those things are solid.
Oh, yes, they are.
Solid. We put it on top of the wood burning stove and jumped around, did all the things to try to get it to move. Wouldn't move. Great. That's set. Went around the house asking questions and things, and then it got to a point where it just got really heavy really fast. I mean, you felt it as soon as you walked in. It was like a wall of thick, heavy. You knew something dark was there. And we walked in and did some investigating. We went upstairs, did some investigating up there. And we felt like the main problem was the main floor. And because they like to linger in certain spots. And we're all in this same room together. We did have a camera going. It was set up facing, it was up in the corner facing, the opposite side of the room, which had a lot of the investigators on it. And in that main room, that's where the stairs are to go up, right by the front door. And I'm standing next to the wood burning stove. But unfortunately, the camera is not hitting me in the wood burning stove. Not that it needs to hit me, but it's not hitting the wood burning stove. Well, suddenly we see the ball start to circle. Not spin, but circle. It was like, whoom, 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 like making, And we are in shock at this point. When you're on the outside looking in, you're like, dude, put your camera to the wood burning stove. Like, but at the time, you're like, holy crap.
It's moving.
This stuff does not happen very often. Stuff
Oh.
where things move, it is like, I've been doing this for a decade now. This maybe first, I think that was the first time I'd actually seen anything move. But I think I've only seen like one or two things happen after that in all the time that I've investigated. So we were all in shock that this was circling. And then it got really heavy and we heard a woman crying. And we're like, what the heck? Like we all audibly heard this woman cry. And we're like, I don't know how we got her name. We'll just say Nicole. Okay. And we're like, Nicole, is that you? And you hear her, it's me. And we're like, what the heck? Normally when you hear things, it's off of a recorder that you don't hear with your ears.
You got to go back and look.
You got to go back and listen to it. And by that time, you're out. You're not in there anymore. And it's day 2, 3 past the time that you've, had that experience. So we're hearing her and we're like, how can we help you? What can we do? Because she did not feel bad. She did not feel evil. You felt this sadness come over you because they can put those feelings onto you and you can feel those sometimes if you're receptive to it. And then you hear, we're trying to help her. Then you hear, and I'm getting like goosebumps right now just talking about it, but you hear heavy footsteps coming down those stairs. Like this dude was ticked. And you hear these boots coming down the stairs. And we're like, absolutely not. You stop right where you are. You are not allowed to come any further. We need to take care of her, right? Our job is to help her move on, help protect her. He needs to stay over here and not be involved because you could tell he had control over her. And you wonder how that could be in the afterlife. How is that possible? In all honesty, I don't know if anybody knows, but I do believe that your agency doesn't change just because you pass on. And I don't know what that has to do with this situation that we were in at that moment, but I just know it was existing. It was happening. And she felt controlled. She felt like she was not able to leave. And she was coming to us because we were there to help, right? This was her one escape. And so a lot of the members of my team were members of my church. And we helped her move on and guided her. And we could feel her leave. And then we had to deal with him. He is ticked at this point.
Of course, because he just lost control.
He did. And so we were able to, I don't want to say get him to move on or whatever. We got him to leave, right? He was not allowed in the house anymore. I don't remember exactly what had happened, but I do remember after we had asked the cop if she would allow us to do a blessing on the home and to bless the home. And she was like, absolutely. She's like, you do whatever you need to do to get this dude out. And so we did. And we blessed the home. And it felt like all of the heaviness completely lifted.
It's just like a heavy fog dissipating.
Yeah. And it was like all of a sudden it felt clear, you know? It's like, you know, when you go in the water and the deeper you go, the more weight and pressure you feel. And that's what it feels like. When it's a super dark place, you feel that heaviness. And the worse the entity, the heavier it feels, the thicker it feels. So once we blessed the home, the feeling left and it felt good again. And she walked in and she's like, oh my gosh, it feels so good in here. We're like, doesn't it? It feels so good. And like, she walked around the house and she's like, the whole place just feels so good and empty. And she had told us that what had happened was in that home, a man had killed his wife and I believe baby or child, and buried her underneath the house. So that just showed us the story, you know, of what had gone on in that home. And that entire time he had been controlling her. And I'm just like, and I don't know what happened to him after he had done that. I don't know if he killed himself. I don't know if he lived longer and lived a life. I have no idea. But that was probably the most memorable and most, I don't want to say intense, but just left an imprint. Something that you'll never forget. And because it all happened within hours.
Wow.
You know, you hear the footsteps, you hear the lady cry, you hear her saying, it's me. You feel all the emotions. You see this ball move. Like all of these things that are happening in this so short amount of time. You rarely get one of those things to happen in an investigation.
Yeah.
In an entire investigation. So that was probably the most memorable for me.
Wow.
That's really cool.
That's really, it's cool, but I can't really imagine the rest of the emotions if you were actually there doing that. You know what I mean? Like us listening to it, we're like fascinated. It's like, oh, that's really cool. But there's when you're actually the person that's there and seeing, hearing, feeling, and experiencing these things, it's a much different, like it's still cool, but.
Well, and it's kind of like, almost like an out-of-body experience. Mm-hmm. You know, because afterwards, when everything's all said and done, you're like, did that really just happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we actually hear her? But like, what was great is that there was like 5 of us there.
Yeah. Who all heard.
Yep.
And we all heard it.
Yeah.
We all saw that ball move. We all heard the footsteps. You know, like we all experienced the same thing. And so when you can all experience the same thing, it's so validating.
Yeah.
And it's something that you all share and it brings you closer together as a group. And it was just a really, really neat experience. And it's so cool to turn what I had experienced throughout my life, going from such a scary thing and turning it to knowledge as power and flipping it to helping other people who are going through the things like that I had experienced growing up, you know. Obviously, it's not going to be the same, you know.
Right.
But getting something to help, using my abilities and using my knowledge to help relieve families from experiences like this.
Right.
Yeah, because it can be intense for families because they don't always know what's going on. They just know something's happening, and sometimes they just need some clarity as to who or what is in their house.
Yeah, and you know what we would do is we would go in, figure out the best we could to help them, or like to figure out who it was. And then we would go give them the knowledge and teach them how to take back their house, you know, and give them that power back.
Yeah.
And that alone is so amazing for them.
It's very rewarding.
Well, yeah. And to be able to feel like you're finally back in your own home. Like, hey, dude, this isn't your home anymore. Or this never was your home. You're not invited here. You know, and give them those tools to be able to succeed for the rest of the time so they don't have to call us back. You know, that's the goal.
Right. Absolutely. I'd want to go on to ask, so today, what do you do with your gifts today? Like, are you still building on them? Are you expanding them? Are you growing them? Or do you think you've gone as far as you can go with it?
I feel like I'm always expanding. I'm always growing. I feel like that's just how it is with any talent. No matter if it's a talent of playing the piano or a talent of a sport. You know, I feel like the longer you do it, the more you grow and the better you get. And for me, I have my times where I don't use it at all, right? Like when I'm home, I don't want anything to do with it. You know?
Can't imagine why.
I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want, like, I don't involve myself in any of that when I'm home. I don't want my kids to be a part of it. I don't, like, in a sense where they're young, you know, I want them to know enough where they will come to me and be like, Mom, something's going on. Because unfortunately, with me having the ability that I do, eventually things pop up. And
of course.
It will happen my entire life. I will never be rid of it, right? And it doesn't matter if I push it away or if I stay doing what I'm doing, it will always be there. So the best thing for me is like being able to help my kids and help have, if any of my kids end up having the ability that I have, which hopefully they don't. But if they do, I can help them. And they will be able to feel comfortable to come to me, and I will have that knowledge to help them out.
Right.
And give them the verbiage. Not that I want them to know, like, deep dive into this, because I don't. But they know enough to be able to be like, Mom, something's going on in my room. Or I think I saw something. Or, you know, and I can work it through with them.
Right.
So they're not scared. I don't want them to be scared, because I feel like that is something that Satan works on really good.
Right.
He's like, oh, you're scared? Let me make it worse.
Right.
You know, but if they're not scared, then why go after that?
Yeah.
It's not worth their time.
Nope.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I always think that I'm growing. I'm always learning new things. Now my abilities have grown so much that, you know, I'm able to actually have conversations with loved ones. And I'm able to connect people with their loved ones and give them messages that they have been wanting to hear. So I don't seek that out in general. Like it's not something that I am like, pay me $50 and
and I'll tell you.
I'm going to tell you.
For $4.99 a minute, I'll tell you your deepest secrets.
Call 1-800-555.
You fool.
Like, I'm not that. But if, you know, a spirit comes to me and gives me information, I'm going to tell them.
Yeah, of course.
If I feel it's appropriate, you know, I'll tell them, especially if they're a close friend or someone that I know, then I'll say something.
Yeah.
You know, because I've like had, you know, my husband's dad show up, his grandpa. You know, I've had animals that have passed away that I'm like, they're here just for a moment. You just get it for a moment and then they're gone. But it's like, I feel like that is the positive side to all of this.
Right.
Is now, instead of just experiencing all the negative things, I've grown it enough where now most of it is so good. It is the good spirits that are now I'm able to communicate with and see and just have those experiences, and those experiences will always outweigh the negative.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. So is there any place, let's start with in our country here, is there any place that you really want to go? Like, what's your number one spot that you haven't been but want to go to?
There's so many.
I know it's hard, right?
Penn State Penitentiary is probably my number one. Oh gosh. Well, we talked about the Axe Murder House.
Basilica.
Basilica.
Yep.
Axe Murder House.
Which to this day is still an unsolved murder.
Yep. We talked about Waverly. That place is huge. It's
you have
huge.
no idea.
I do not, because I've never been there.
If you were to, so I talked to a guard there who gets to investigate every year there. He has his own little paranormal group. He's investigated for, at the time, was 6 straight years.
Uh-huh.
And he's gotten about a quarter of the building investigated.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, because it's so massive. It's like...
You've got patient rooms on one side, activity rooms and bathrooms on the other side, and you've got 5 floors of it, including the infamous body chute.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are so many places that I've seen or heard of or read about or, whatever, that I'm just like, I have got to get in there. Any hospital, tuberculosis place, any penitentiary, what I really want to do is an orphanage.
Oh.
I would really love to do an orphanage.
They're hard to get to because most of them don't exist anymore.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's like back in the day, they, when the Great Depression hit, people would drop off their kids just so that they could be fed.
Right.
That actually happened to my grandfather.
Yeah.
On my dad's side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when he was adopted out, we don't actually know if my last name is truly my last name.
Isn't that crazy?
Because we don't know if he was adopted back by his birth parents or by a different family. And the orphanage burned down and all the records are gone.
Oh, man.
So it's lost to history.
Man.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so I want to do hospitals. I want to do, which I have, but I want to hit the east side of.
Oh, there's so much over there.
On the east?
Yes.
Yes. I want to do a plantation,
Ooh, Myrtle's plantation.
Yes, right? So my husband's from North Carolina. I'm like, get my butt over there.
Right? Why haven't we gone?
I don't know.
Maybe
because it's on the other side of the country. Our country is huge.
It's only 900 miles. No, it's
no,
1,100
more
miles.
Than that.
One way.
Yeah. I think as paranormal investigators, if you talk to really any paranormal investigators that's, done a little bit of traveling, at least to like neighboring states from where they live, I think you'll find that we all have this massive list.
Right?
Of locations, whether it's here in the United States or anywhere else in the world. Our list, every time you hear about another place, you're like adding it to your list,
Yeah.
It just keeps growing.
Yeah.
I think it's at like 7,000 right now.
I lost count. But yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who has gifts but is younger? Like, say, a teenager who is starting to show signs of having gifts. What advice would you give to them?
Stay away from the dark stuff, because that's what pulls you in. I feel like that's the easy, accessible stuff, which is, as a teenager, can be the most damaging. I would do your best to find people like you who want to see the good, which honestly is really hard to find. It's hard to find people it's hard to talk about because not a lot of people are open about it.
Right.
But do your best to stay positive.
So yeah, looking for the positive is really important, especially in a world, especially today, where anything bad seems to be at the forefront. Like when you look at the news or read something, a lot of it is bad. So there's a lot of good there, but you might have to dig a little bit because we seem to promote the bad.
Oh, we do. Well, and it's like that's what's enticing to a lot of people.
Right.
That's not that's not what I like to investigate. I've helped a lot of people with bad. But also learn how to protect yourself, how to spread that positivity around you and give yourself that bubble of protection so that you're not inviting things to you,
Yeah.
you know?
But like, how does one go about learning those things though? Like someone's gonna we can find everything on YouTube,
Right.
to be honest, nowadays.
But that can also be misleading too.
Right. So
Yeah.
where should they go? Who should they go talk to? Because not every clergy or individual of the church or a church
Right.
is going to be open to those things.
Right. I would say most good paranormal investigation groups are going to have a medium. They're going to have someone who understands that side to teach you how to protect yourself. And a lot of people, if you, depending on your religion, depending on what you believe, are going to have different beliefs.
Yeah.
But it's all about intention. You creating space for you and not allowing anything to come in. Realizing that that is actually an option for you is huge. And a lot of people will, that I found that it almost doesn't matter what you believe in. If you can create a white light meaning goodness, Christ light, or whatever you want to call it, use that. And what I like to do is I picture my home, or I'll picture myself, and I'll picture a literal bubble of protection, a literal bubble, like a Harry Potter bubble.
Awesome.
Of protection. And it works. It works for me. And it's a staple for me that I'm like, you're not allowed to go past this point. You're not allowed to go past any part that I don't want you to be in. And they don't, unless I do something stupid and invite them in, because they'll take any chance they can get, especially if you have a gift. They will take any chance they can get to hop on that ride. And it's easy for them. And they're waiting. They're patient. They got all the time in the world.
They got eternity.
That's right.
They have all the time in the world to wait for you. So literally make the best choices that you can, because they're waiting to ride that train. And that white light, put that around you, imagine it around you.
Yeah.
And it's impressive how quick, with you making a wrong choice, meaning, we would deal with a lot of teenagers who were trying drugs or playing with a Ouija board. And it could even just be their first time, or watching porn. Something along those lines where it invites any negative energy in and opens that door, it will flood. They will come flooding in. And it's hard to get them out once they're in. It takes a lot more effort to push them away. So as long as you can make the right choices, don't be stupid.
Best advice ever. Don't be stupid.
But that's to any teenager at this point. Don't be stupid.
Well, unfortunately, that's a lot of adults too.
Right?
So
Some of them get TV shows. Or YouTube channels.
Well, and that's
Yep.
another thing is don't let the things you see on YouTube or on TV, these, paranormal shows, don't mimic those.
No.
Especially the ones where they're going in and it's always the dark and it's always the demons.
Everything is
and it's always
haunted.
met with anger and everything's haunted and gruesome things. Don't get wrapped up in that, because I'm telling you something, it's for entertainment purposes only.
Yep.
A lot of it is absolute bogus.
Do not investigate in your house.
No, do not ever investigate your own house.
I mean, as a kid, and like a teenager and wanting to learn about these things, that when you're alone, where are you? You're in your room.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, let's try something. Let's ask questions. Let's put on my recorder on my phone. Don't do that.
Yeah.
That is just opening a door.
Yeah.
That's asking them to come play.
Right? Like,
That's right.
don't be stupid.
Don't do it.
Think things through before you do it. And if you think that door is going to be open for anyone and you don't know who's going to come through, don't do it.
That's right. All good advice.
Yeah. Everybody, if you enjoyed getting to know Elisa and her paranormal origin story. Make sure to like and comment and subscribe to our channel and our podcast.
And if you have any questions, if you do have an ability and you don't know what to do with it, or you feel like someone that you know does, or your child or anything like that, feel free to contact us and ask us any questions that you are open to, that you're willing to learn about, and we will help you.
And it's the easiest place to find us is on Facebook, Paranormal Peeps Podcast. We have our group. We're all admins on that group, so you can message us directly if you need to. You can find us. It's easy that way.
Yep.
Yeah, if you need help or have questions, please don't hesitate.
Absolutely. And as always, stay ghosty, my peeps.
Hi, I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan. We are Mountain Murders, an Appalachian true crime podcast dropping weekly episodes every Sunday.
Our show offers well-researched cases with unique storytelling and southern flavor.
Stories so good you'll want to sop them up with a biscuit.
Ooh, I pull back the curtain on lesser-known and often obscure regional cases from Georgia to Maine, exploring the darkness that lurks deep in the heart of Appalachia.
And I react with profound statements.
You mean profoundly stupid statements?
Something like that.
We're not your stereotypical hillbillies.
But we do like moonshine.
It'll tickle your innards.
Join us every Wednesday for Mountain Murders Offbeat.
Offbeat is a mini episode covering a variety of topics from true crime to conspiracy theories, the paranormal, and Appalachian-centric subjects.
Find Mountain Murders anywhere you download podcasts. Hit subscribe today to catch up on our latest episodes or binge our catalog.
Thank you for listening to the Paranormal Peeps Podcast. You can find us on social media at Twitter at CPR Paranormal, on Facebook at Paranormal Peeps Podcast and Cold Spot Paranormal Research. And you can find us on Instagram at coldspot_paranormal_research.